We're just gonna wait for people to join in. Hello there. Starting a stream. Having a good time. Let me do a little bit of quality control real quick. You let me know if my audio is no good. Hold on. Hello there. Y'all hold your thoughts real quick. I'll be back. Let me do a little bit of quality control real quick. You let me know if my audio is no good. You can probably hear me once. All right. Hockey dock, people. Sup? There is white noise. It is weird, isn't it? Stand by while I see what I can do to fix that. Weird. Is it any better? All right, hold on. Yeah, there's a little. Yeah, all right, we're gonna play around with the white noise for a second. Maybe we have a filter on there. I don't know what any of this is gonna do. That might help. Let me turn my audio back on. It is not raining. There's a little bit of construction outside, but I don't think that might help. What we're hearing. Let me turn my audio back on. No, there's still a little white noise. How we think we're good? All right, if I talk loudly, you turn your volume down, you won't be able to hear the white noise. Problem solved, right? All right, so this video is not gonna win me any popularity points. It's gonna make some people upset. But I've been, over the past few days, accumulating videos that allegedly show police brutality. And some of them do. Many of them don't. Many of them are not actually police brutality. And there's a lot of misinformation, and it's been really frustrating for me. And I know it's been very, very frustrating for other people who are currently in law enforcement. Myself, I'm not currently in law enforcement, but I was, for those of you who are not aware. I was military police. So seeing these things is frustrating. And don't get me wrong, I am all for police accountability. I've always been all for police accountability. One of the many reasons I started this channel was to help people understand what is and is not improper police behavior so that they themselves know what is unacceptable. I did not intend to get to that point in this channel as soon as I did, but with all these protests, I feel like this is an appropriate time to address that. So, yes, my Starship background noise. This isn't about race. I don't want this to have anything to do with race. If I see comments being posted that are about race, I'm likely going to delete it. This is not the video for that. This is not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make this any worse of a video than it's going to be. So, let's see. All right, so, yes. Before we begin, into the videos, I found this. And we see... Let me see if I can adjust my screen a little bit so that we can see it. Just real quick. I've been debating myself whether or not I want to do the stream for a while now, so excuse me if I'm a little all over the place for this one. Alright, so we have this thread. I have not fact-checked any of this, but if you guys want to do that yourself, that's something I always encourage people to do, is do their fact-checking. Go back through this video, and all the information is here. So this is Samuel Sinyangwe. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Don't know who he is. He's got a little check mark, so he must be someone important. It says, for those who are interested in research-based solutions to stop police violence, here's what you need to know based on the facts and data. A thread. I have not confirmed any of this. Once again. Lesson 1. Everything you probably heard is a lie. Specifically, the most discussed solutions to police violence have no evidence of effectiveness. For example, body cams don't reduce police violence. That is true. They actually increase violence against police officers, which creates, the increased likelihood that violence will be used to retaliate. What it does is it helps find the officers who are having an issue with violence and giving them the boot. Because when it's someone... I'm trying to be very cautious with this. I've never had a complaint against me that had any merit. I've maybe had 2 complaints against me, and they were so incredibly easily false that I don't think they even went on paper. It was someone was mad that I arrested them, and there was hard evidence that what they claimed never happened. I don't remember what it was. I remember it's happened. And when we see, this police officer has, this many complaints against them, people complain against police officers all the time. That doesn't mean it has any merit to the complaint. So what cameras do is it makes it very clear whether or not the complaint actually happened. That's why they're great. I don't know if Chauvin, whom it might be pronounced Chauvin, I've heard it both ways. I'm going to keep doing Chauvin because it's what I started with. I don't know if they had body cams. If they do, I'm sure we'll be seeing them at some point. Not every department has them. I'm a huge fan of body cams. I was never upset about being recorded, because I should be doing the right thing no matter what. Why should it matter if I'm being recorded or not? Why should it matter if I'm wearing a body cam? Body cam's only going to make my job easier. So I'm a huge fan of that. I don't know if that department had them. I'm sure at some point in the future we'll find out. So, use of force, complaints, disorderly conduct. I can't click this, so it's not really clear. There is no evidence that better police training programs or implicit bias training changes police behavior. The trainings vary in quality and rarely result in any accountability / changes in decision making. Don't put this at the top of your agenda. Now I've advocated for better training. In the video that I just premiered, that was one of my things. The training, you can't just say give them more training. It has to be good training, and the officers have to actually care. There has to be consequences not following that training. I've had one of my favorite examples. I have been through domestic intervention training, domestic violence intervention training, I think it was. It was a week-long course. It was, morning to night, just long days going over this, and it was garbage. Now, I have dealt with a lot of domestic violence, especially as a criminal investigator. And the first few days of this class was basically teaching us how to be mediators. Like, don't just, pick a side and arrest someone, whatever. Sit on the couch, talk to them, and work out their problems. Well, okay, but train us how to do that. Like a therapist, a psychologist, that takes years. That takes certifications. Don't just expect us after a few days to be able to do that, right? And after a few days of being like, be their therapist, it will be great, you'll help them out, which is fine in some circumstances, certainly not many. Well, let me back that up. The majority that would not have worked. The majority that I've responded to that would not have worked. And then after a few days of this, we watched this video of this guy who's like, yeah, I used to beat my wife all the time. Police must have been called to our house 7 times, and they tried to be a mediator, and I said the right things. They heard what they wanted to hear, and they left, and they didn't press charges. Well, why would you teach us to be mediators then? Why would you spend days teaching us to be mediators and then show us this video? And then there was no like interconnectivity being like, all right, so here's what we've taught you, and here are the problems. It was just, here's what we taught you, also here's this video. So the training, I personally think, was absolute garbage. There were good parts in it, but you could have taken those good parts and reduced it to 2 days. And then it was another, few days of just nonsense. So the training has to be effective, and the people have to care about it. And don't get me wrong, I cared very greatly about helping people in domestic violence situations, but I've been through training that was absolute trash. So, what else? More restrictive state and local policies governing police use of force are associated with significantly lower rates of police shooting and killings by police. Yes, if we put together better laws restricting what the police can do, you're going to see them do that less. And then you have to enforce it. Like, you can't forget to enforce it. All right, let me see. Demilitarization. Police departments that get more military weapons from the federal government kill more people. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I was literally military police, so this doesn't... I have very little information about this because we were military. We enforced law on military bases. So this, I think, didn't affect us much at all, having military equipment. Maybe it affects other departments. I'm not going to talk about it because I have no idea how accurate that is. But there is militarization and police violence. The case of the 1033 program. If you look that up, you might be able to find out what he's talking about. Police union contracts. Oh, I don't know anything about police unions, folks. Military police, to my knowledge, do not have a police union. If they did, I never saw it. If we messed up, oh boy, were we in trouble. Which is one of the reasons why, if you watch videos of military police, they're actually pretty chill. Because they don't have anyone to protect them. We also move every 2 to 3 years. So you move to a new place, no one has your back. You got to be doing the right thing. They don't care about some new guy. If you're no good, you're gone. If we could implement something like that in civilian police forces, I'm all for that. It would be difficult. I know almost nothing about police unions, but I know that there's a lot I disagree with about certain things involving the unions. And maybe they're very, very useful. I'm not saying they don't have their place, but I think that's something that maybe should be looked into more. Predictive policing on the police. Use the technology against them. Yeah. Track the misconduct better. And then use it to determine whether or not someone is going to continue to be an issue. Like, that just makes sense, right? Invest in alternatives to police as crime prevention strategies. Oh, additional organizations in the city will help do that. That's great. Now, I'm all for more organizations to increase education and community-based structure and integrity. And I think the police need to be much more involved in the community. But if that's accurate, that every 10 additional organizations reduces that kind of crime, heck yeah. Let me get out of the way. Establishing non-police alternatives to 911 calls. Ah, yes, mental illness. Mental illness is a huge problem. Even people trained to deal with people with mental illness, it's a huge problem. They can be very, very unpredictable, and there are a lot of mental illnesses that are incredibly similar to someone who is on drugs, incredibly similar to someone who is just being real aggressive. That's a problem. I think Portland's doing a great job having that sort of ability where if someone's having a mental issue, you don't call the police, you call some sort of medical professional. So I'm all for that. Resources Department of Justice. Departments have received federal intervention. Okay, so use the federal government to investigate police shootings. I'm not really sure what this is saying. A lot of this is I'm just doing this off the fly, or on the bat, whichever. No change is not only possible. Finally, we catalog extensive range. Broken windows policing. Yeah, that's a whole thing. We're not going to get into that today. Maybe. Yeah, so there's a lot of really good stuff in here. If you want the link, I can give it to you. I'm going to keep that over. Yeah. Let's save that. Nope. Come back. I'll save that for later. Anyway, let's check out some more. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to look at things that I haven't really reviewed. And one of the reasons I wanted to do that, because a lot of people are looking into these things without the facts, and it's very frustrating. I'm thinking, I can do that. I can look at things without the facts, and, make up what I believe is happening. If I can be frustrated by this, great. Let's do that. So, first one, this one I actually have looked into. Again, I don't have the full context of any of these. Most of these. Some of these I might actually. But, big warning. If you see a police car or a cop with a speaker-looking thing on it, effing run. It's known as the LRAD, which is long-range acoustic device. A device that, when activated, can permanently damage your hearing and cause serious harm. If you're too close, you'll be left in a lot of pain and squirming on the ground, permanently deaf. Earplugs do not work. Unless you have one of those shooting range headphones, you do not stand a chance against them. Again, if you see them pull up, run. This is what they look like. All right? Okay. And when you run, don't run away in the direction it's facing. Run to the left or right instead. These things are directional, so they're most dangerous if you're in front of it. You'll be able to reach safety much more quickly if you run to the side instead. Also, on the left, that's that one. The one on the left looks to be the LRAD 500X, and the one on the right is an LRAD 100X. Okay, a little bit smaller. Both of these devices are capable of producing levels higher than, the human threshold of pain is 120 decibels. Allegedly. I don't know if that's true. We'll take their word for it. Both of these devices are capable of producing levels higher than that. I think this one does 168 decibels. I'd say if you find yourself within 50 meters, 160 feet of one of these, get out of there immediately. You don't want to have one of those facing you no matter how far away you are, but that's the range where you'll risk nearly instant damage to your hearing. All right, let's go over this for a second. Yes, LRADs, long-range acoustical devices. Sometimes they are used as acoustic cannons, but they were developed to transmit audio messages over long distances. In 2000, there were some pirates that approached a ship. I think suicide bombers, actually. I don't know if they were terrorists or what. They approached a ship, and the ship had no way of hailing them from a distance. So they developed this to be able to transmit messages. I think these can go like 3.5 kilometers. You can hear them. That's incredible. You can hear the message clearly. And so that was developed for ships to be able to communicate over long distances so they could be like, what are you doing? Why? What's happening? So, are police using them? Obviously. Here's police and here's police. But what are some of our concerns here? Earplugs do not work. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Earplugs work against these. That's one of the concerns against them, actually. I've read a few articles on these. And one of the things people bring up all the time is, why would we buy these? These are like tens of thousands of dollars. If people can just wear earplugs. Earplugs work. You're still going to hear them. It's going to be a lot less, loud. You just, can't hear it. All right. Let's see, you have one of those shooting range headphones. No. I'll tell you, when I go to the shooting range, I use the little foam ones. Those, to me, are shooting range headphones. They work fine. Maybe you're putting them in your ear improperly. I mean, what I do is you pull the ear up, and then you can really shove them in there. But that's a different conversation. If you see them run, you don't stand a chance against them. Yeah, they're usually what they're used. In the Portland Police Bureau, they use these to transmit messages. You'll see them go, everyone evacuate. You have 15 minutes. These are your areas to evacuate. Here are the laws you're breaking if you fail to do so. I've seen them use them to communicate. They are long-range acoustic devices used for communication. Usually. Now, they have been used by... Well, let me back up. They're really good at... sound is really clear from these, which is one of the reasons they're great. But they can be used to do high-pitched noises to make people uncomfortable. Let's assume the human threshold of pain is 120 decibels. I don't know if that's true. Both these devices are capable of producing levels higher than that. That is accurate. I'd say if you find yourself within 50 meters, 160 feet of one of these, get out of there immediately. That's an opinion. That's just them being like, I'd recommend. You don't want to have one of these facing you no matter how far away you are, but that's the range where you'll risk nearly instant damage to your hearing. No. These don't instantly damage your hearing. Long exposure to them can, just like with any loud noise. But if they use them with the loud, high-pitched noises, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to want to keep being in the area throwing rocks through buildings. So they look scary. They're not going to kill you. And if you stay in the area, if you stay in the area for a long amount of time, they may damage your hearing. But don't stay in the area. Just a thought. I'm just saying. Reconvene somewhere else. They're not going to use these unless you're, part of an illegal protest or riot. And you're probably not going to see these too often. They are very expensive. Anyway, let's check out another one. Yeah, no, a rock concert is going to be the same problem. That was one of the things that when I was reading up on these, like, yes, similarly, those who go to rock concerts, like, yes, if you expose yourself to loud noises for a long period of time, it's not an instant, oh, I'm now deaf. Like, if you're putting your ear against it, yeah, you'd probably end up deaf. But 150 feet? No. That's absurd. All right, where was I? We're going to get rid of that one. All right. Seattle Police Department stated on Twitter that officers were injured at protests from having explosives thrown at them, adding pictures of candles. So, let's read that tweet. At about 7:30 p.m., demonstrators outside of the East Precinct began moving barricades at 11th and Pine, despite multiple requests from police to stop. All right, that's illegal. All right. Individuals began throwing rocks, bottles, and explosives at officers. Also illegal. You can't do that. Get it? You want to protest, but don't be doing that. Several officers injured due to improvised explosives. And they have pictures of candles. These aren't improvised explosives. No, these are objects that were being thrown. They didn't show the improvised explosives. They got rid of the improvised explosives. They're like, let's dispose of this properly. Come on, people. And then, everyone's like, these aren't improvised explosives. These are candles. And it's really funny. Is this a bomb? 12 packs of bombs looted out of Lake Street Target. I can't believe there are stores selling explosives in every mall in America. Yeah, it is a candle. Yes, fireworks are very popular. Some people, what they've been doing is they've taken sparklers, you wrap it up in electrical tape, you create basically a bomb. I think legally it is considered a homemade explosive device. Have you guys checked Antifa headquarters for the culprit? Like, these are hilarious. But people can get this confused, be like, why are they so stupid? Like, no. Of course that's not... They're not showing the picture of the bombs. They mentioned a whole bunch of things. Crazies. Anyway. On to the next, shall we? Now, if at any point you want me to look into any of these further, let me know, and I'll do a little research. Oh, here we go. That's the same candle one. Barber school length, 1,500 hours. Police academy length, 840 hours. Let that sink in. Oh, what does that sink want now? That's a joke, by the way. It's a whole thing. Hold on. I might have a guest for you. Yeah. So, police academy. Some people are like, it's only however many weeks or months or whatever. Mine was 10 weeks, military police. All right? Which is, 10 weeks. And then when I got to my unit, they put me through more training, and then I was put into a police car with an FTO, which is a field training officer. Is that what that is? I don't know. Anyway, they put me with an experienced officer and they trained me. The training doesn't stop, people. You go through the academy. You finish the academy. You go to your location. They continue to train you, and then you get to keep going to schools. For example, I went to the domestic violence intervention training. I've also went to training to be deputized as a... what was it? It starts with a C? You'd think I know this. I didn't get through because they spelled my name wrong, and they weren't willing to redo the paperwork because it's expensive. Customs agent. I went through the entire training to be deputized as a customs agent, which is only a week, but that was for deployments. I would be the guy who would check to make sure that we weren't bringing bugs back in the United States or foreign plant material or whatever. Neat stuff. So I continuously got more training. Those are just two examples of some of the more meh ones. But yeah, barber school length, a long time. Police academy length, it's a lot longer than that. Or police training length, all right? A lot longer than that. It's something that people get wrong all the time, right? And like Gary W. is saying, or doctors don't stop training after they leave medical school, and so it goes for cops. Yes, correct. Now, do I think that police should have a longer training? I don't see why not. I think that's a great idea. But one of the officers in the George Floyd incident had a criminal justice degree. So obviously it didn't help him much. Now, that was the one that spoke up and said, like, yeah, I was trying to get him to roll him onto the side. I was trying to, stop this whole weird incident. He had a criminal justice degree. Didn't do diddly squat. He is now being charged with aiding and abetting a second-degree murder. So, nice. Sean says, my old roommate was nuts. He was a U.S. Customs at the border. I feel he had a low amount of training based on how he acted. That may be true. My customs training was for a very specific type of customs stuff, which was deployment, making sure, that we didn't have cross-contamination of inter-country vegetable matter bugs or whatever. And Gary says learning in the field is often the best type of training. You can know the law all you want, but if you're not good at interacting with people, you're useless as a police officer. And that's very hard to teach in a class environment. And then once you're out on the road, well, they've already invested a ton of money into you. And they're going to keep trying to get you better interact with people, but you got to be a people person to be a cop. Anyway, on to the next one. Stand up to our authoritarians. You're going to kill me, Dallas police body cam footage reveals the final minutes of Tony Timpa's life. Timpa wailed and pleaded for help more than 30 times as officers pinned his shoulders, knees, and neck to the ground in 2016. I don't know the details of this, but I have this as I kept it up. This one I saved because this is 2016, and obviously if it's a problem, it's a problem, right? It's really that simple. But this was 4 years ago, probably a little less because we're like halfway almost. Yeah, we're halfway-ish through 2020. God, it went so fast. You're going to see a lot of this, and it's going to look like police officers are just doing the wrong thing over and over and over again. Keep in mind, 4 years ago, okay? I don't know the details of this one, but be cautious. Don't get overwhelmed, all right? A lot of people are losing their minds, being like, yeah, police are really doing the wrong thing, and then you look at it, and you're like, no, this is over the course of a decade. Like, obviously, it's going to look bad when we take 10 years and condense them into 5 minutes. Thomas says, as a medic in Toronto, that he had to recertify every year, no choice. Police, you have to go through training again and again and again, same way. Sibby, do you know the case of Sheriff James Lujan? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I haven't reviewed all of that yet. I believe I'm familiar with the incident, but that might be something worth talking about in the future. Let me see, what else do we have? New study says white police officers are not more likely to shoot minority suspects. This one interested me. New peer-reviewed study of fatal police shootings says that white officers are not more likely to shoot and kill minorities. So, this may not be a racism thing. This is just police doing their thing. I'm not trying to make this about race. I just thought it was an interesting study. If you guys want to review it, it's right there. It's an NPR article. But, just a food for thought. Moving on. Oh, this. No, I accidentally clicked something on my keyboard. No. All right. This one looks real bad. I don't think there's audio on this one. But this officer is intimidating. This guy is sitting on the car. He's all up in his face. I'm not happy with this by any means. So he's saying it's my constitutional right to have my own personal space. Officer backs off, and the guy starts insulting him, and then they arrest him. They put him in handcuffs, and they won't tell him why. That looks awful. That looks really, really bad. But I believe the context, this is why context is important. This guy, there was already reasonable suspicion that he was committing a crime. Okay? Now, the officer should not have gotten in his face. That's not going to de-escalate the situation. You always want de-escalation. Well, usually. Almost always. So that officer doing this, I can't support that. However, when he gets arrested, that's not because he insulted the officers, because they already had reasonable suspicion that he was suspected of a crime before then. The detention, according to the department, was lawful. Again, I don't have all the facts on this one. I'm reviewing this just like most people review this on the internet with almost no facts. So the issue was this guy was being confrontational. Usually if someone's being confrontational, you can put them in handcuffs to continue detaining him. Now, he used the word arrest, which he should not have done. He said, we're arresting you. What he should have said is, all right, we're going to put you in handcuffs because you want to make a big deal about this. This, I think, is wrong. It's not illegal. It's a dumb move. This, based on the context I provided, would not be wrong. You need probable cause to make an arrest. You don't need probable cause to put someone in handcuffs during a detention. You need a reason, but the reason here could be articulated as, well, they were becoming very, aggressive in their speech. I thought that aggression might turn from verbal aggression to physical aggression. Now, of course, the defense to that is, of course, they're going to be aggressive. Look what you're doing, right? But that is how I would articulate it if I found myself in this guy's position, which I would hope I never would. Saw a recent video. Thomas says, I saw a recent interview with a psychologist who was commenting that rookie U.S. cops are less likely to shoot a black person and may hesitate. That isn't necessarily wrong. I had a friend who tried to get into the Seattle Police Department. And by the way, Seattle Police Department does a great job, I think. I hear very little problems with them. I actually have a thing I'll bring up with you guys at some point during this about Seattle Police. But I had a friend who went through, and he was trying to use less lethal force. And they actually were like, dude, no. Don't be afraid to be more aggressive about it. And I think he ended up quitting the training, be like, nah, if they're going to make me present lethal force more than I am comfortable with, I'm not going to be a police officer. So there are issues, there are concerns from some of the new people, certainly about using the tools they have because the fear that they will be wrong to use them. And that's not necessarily a bad fear. That is one of the concerns that is brought up a lot when people say, we need to, teach police how to do these things. We need to reduce the way they do that. Or we need to stop backing them up if they make a mistake. One of the concerns you see brought up a lot to counter that is, well, if we stop helping the police out if they mess up, then they're never going to do their job for fear of messing up. But I think there are ways to mitigate that concern by saying, like, no, just train them more. You know, make sure they're better. If they don't feel comfortable being held accountable, they shouldn't be police officers, right? So someone is cutting the grass outside. It's my neighbors right up against our fence. It's very frustrating. Good timing they have, right? So this one obviously isn't great, but this isn't brutality. It looks terrible without context. Again, you take these really small clips of the entire, like, this is probably like a 30, 40-minute thing. This video is 43, or what, how many seconds? A minute? Yeah, this video is a minute. A minute of maybe 40 minutes, right? Just a thought, right? Keep that in mind. On to the next. What is my boy saying? Give me just 1 second, guys. All right, we're back. All right, Providence firefighters. This one looks bad. I, again, don't have all the facts. If you guys want me to look into this more, let me know, because it looks really bad. Providence firefighter says, we stand with our brothers Terry Patchy, who was on duty. Pacey? Oh, Terrell. Sorry, Terrell, not Terry. Terrell, we can say Terrell, who is on duty and in uniform in front of the Messer Street Fire Station when he and a visitor were profiled by Providence police. A 23-year-old black firefighter had a gun drawn and held on him even after he announced himself as a firefighter, even as he stood before these police officers in his full fire department uniform in front of his workplace. This situation makes clear that even in uniform, a young black man is not immune from the impact of systematic institutional racism. That is interesting, right? Now, I again don't have all the details, but if I were to put a defense up for the police and say, well, maybe this happened, maybe he was outside of the fire department and there was a protest there and everyone was ordered to leave and then he didn't, and no, I can't justify this one. I can't. Maybe it can be with facts, right? But that seems like a problem. A gun drawn, I want to believe that there was a reason the gun was drawn. Something worth looking into more, maybe. You know what? Why don't we? Why not? All right. Outside Messer Street Fire Station, talking to a friend who had brought him food when both officers came at them with their guns drawn. After identifying, I'm not allowed to carry a firearm on duty because he doesn't have a gun. Search the vehicle. And the Providence police sergeant visited the station, apologized for what the two officers had done. Interesting. Maybe someone called the police on them. That is a possibility. That is a possibility. Is someone called the police and said, "Hey, we got two people dressed up as firefighters with a gun." Right? That's absolutely a possibility. If I had to guess what had happened, if I were to believe that something correct had happened, like if this was done correctly, and not just police officers being incredibly incompetent, because that would be incredible incompetence. I'm guessing someone called the police, said, "Hey, there are two black men looking suspicious. I think one of them might have a gun." And the police show up. Okay, well, they're going to show up with guns drawn, and they're going to ask to search the vehicle to find that gun. That is my guess. That is a pure theory. But it's not a bad theory. Certainly doesn't look bad. This one. Milwaukee police restraining a protester using almost the same thing that was used on George Floyd, but on the back of the head. Now, there are police departments who are authorized to do this. You control the head, control the body. So you're controlling the head. That's not putting pressure on his neck. I don't see this as an issue if this guy is trained to use this technique. I was never authorized to use that technique. But if this guy needs to be held down, that's actually not a concern. It looks bad. It's real bad timing to do that, right? Especially since this happened on June 2nd, after the George Floyd thing. But if that's how they're trained to do it, it's real hard to break training, because when the adrenaline kicks in, when you're in the heat of the moment, you're going to react with whatever your training is. So that is less of an issue than a lot of people might think. Now, why the person was arrested, I don't know. And maybe the arrest itself was an issue. Couldn't tell you. There was one of these that actually showed a video. We might find it somewhere down here. That showed a video of a person with a camera approaching this, and the police with the bikes all rushed in to block them off. And everyone's like, oh, they're trying to suppress the media. No, the person was walking towards an active arrest. Right? You get a telescopic lens on your camera, there's not an issue. And this is the thing I say to First Amendment auditors all the time is, no, the issue is that you're approaching the police doing their job. You're crossing police tape. You're getting involved in a crime scene. You want to see what's happening. You get a telescopic lens, right? A telephoto lens, whatever they're called these days. And it's film it from across the street. And that's what I did when I did my audit, is I have this 2x zoom device. Actually, I think I have it here. So I have my camera lens, right? And I have this thing right here, which gives it an extra 2x zoom. Is a 2.2 time telephoto converter, right? Gives me a little more distance, not much, but it's a nice little thing to have. And then you can not get in their way, and it won't be an issue with obstruction or whatever. They weren't moving in to stop the camera. They were moving in to stop someone from getting involved in the arrest. Come on. All right, what's the next one? All right, Seattle riot. Now, I was in 2 Seattle protests, May 30th and then June 5th. I visited both. I got film from both. Here we have a bunch of protesters, and they are shouting things, so let's see what's going on. All right. Black Lives Matter. Out. Yep. So Seattle has a lot of bike patrols during these protests. You see them all the time. Here we have National Guard, and they're just holding the line. They're not doing anything. All they're doing is holding the line. You got a line of police officers here, and then bike cops in here, and they're able to move around very quickly to address any concerns. All right, no issues. And then all of a sudden this, oh yeah, look what happened. Okay, what happened though? What did happen? And here we have, line of police. They're moving forward. So what they do, and I'll be putting together a video on, how these protests work and how the police work during these protests, right? Is they get their line. They say, this is no longer a legal protest, unlawful assembly, disperse from the area, whatever, because of the violence, because of the crimes being committed during the protest is now become a riot. We have to get all of you out of there because this is mob mentality, and if we break you up, there's not going to be the mob mentality, and which is why they want it broken up. So they get in a line and they move forward, often yelling "get back." So they have their bikes, get back, and they'll move their bike forward as sort of a thing to block them. When they're holding these batons, I saw someone with a baton in here. I think probably all of these people have it. I thought I saw one more clearly. I know these guys had batons because I went over to Seattle and I talked to some of them asking if I could film them. Not that they could have stopped me, but I like to just be cool about it. What happened? A protest became a riot? How shocking, right? So, the batons aren't necessarily for beating people. I've never used a baton on someone in my life outside of training, which is with foam batons. I never wanted to. But they're more to, hold the line. That's why they're so big. So, now you have this going on. Those are flashbangs. And you have some smoke, but that's from the flashbangs. They're not using tear. This might be tear gas. I'm not sure. All right. It sounds like there is tear gas. You hear people coughing. But the police are giving instructions during all of this. These people are failing to obey. These people are committing crimes. Not the ones fleeing. The ones fleeing, they're good to go. These ones, committing crimes. So what happens when you're committing a crime? The police arrest you, right? And they move forward. All right, and they move up. They form their line. They surround this guy. What you'll see happen, they'll form their line. Police officers will gather behind the line. The line will break, and they'll charge out and grab the people who are being clearly a problem, right? That's not brutality. That's people being arrested, right? It's that simple. Now, when they start beating people with batons as they're fleeing, that I have a problem with. That's huge. But just this, people see this and go, police brutality. No! They're dispersing a riot. Although the Seattle mayor and police chief agreed to a 30-day ban on the use of tear gas, which is very interesting, with exception of extreme circumstances. But it won't be used strictly to disperse a riot. Yeah, most people refuse to move, and that's one of the things you see with a lot of the media. There's been so much talk about the media getting arrested, like, oh, they're arresting the media. It's no, because the media will set up right here, for example, right, and they'll film it, and the police are ordering ordering people to disperse. They're issuing orders to disperse and saying everyone needs to leave. That includes the media. The media is not protected. I had a whole rant about the CNN news crew, right? The media is the people. The media does not have any special right to be in an area that is not open to the general public. This area, no longer open to the general public. So the media would also have to be dispersing. When they don't, they get arrested. Now, not every department will arrest the media. Sometimes they've already talked to them and been like, all right, you're going to be okay. Just don't get in our way, right? But when I went to film these protests, when possible, I went up to the police officers and said, hey, when this happens, what's my best way to get out of here? I don't want to be caught up in this. And they're like, you'll be fine. You'll know what's happening. We'll give orders. I made sure they knew who I was and that I wasn't a problem. Now, if I was CNN, I'd be walking up the line and be like, hey, I'd find someone. I would find someone. I'd be like, hey, can we stay? Can your sergeant confirm that? Can we make sure the higher-ups know that we're here? Cool. Right? And there may still be an issue, right? Because communication can be difficult when this is happening. Or this is happening, right? It's kind of loud. It can be hard to communicate. You're kind of dealing with a lot of stuff there. So you see these people like, oh, I'm protesting. I'm peacefully protesting. I'm not doing anything wrong. You can still be arrested because you're trespassing at that point. Well, or failing to disperse, or part of an unlawful crowd, whatever the way that's phrased in your various states, right? Now, if they start using batons on this guy, problem. If they start using rubber bullets on this guy, problem. But if the crowd is just picking things up and throwing them, cool, you can get hit with rubber bullets. By the way, we'll have some DeWitt hype soon enough. I still have to put out the last bit of the interview. And then once the court stuff starts happening again, we'll talk about DeWitt some more. But for now, boom. If the protesters are throwing rocks and bottles and whatever, congratulations. The tear gas obviously isn't working. So now you escalate force to something like rubber bullets, right? The use of force escalates, and then you try to de-escalate whenever possible, but you can escalate it back again. Right, so what happens? Let's go over the use of force here. All right, use of force. The presence of police officers. Presentation of some of these less lethal devices. Some of them are probably holding tear gas. These guys are holding batons, all right? Escalate to here. Now they're marching forward. These guys know if they get too close, they're getting arrested. Tear gas is being deployed. Flashbangs are being deployed. All right, things are escalating. If that doesn't work, if this didn't work, and the riots continue and there's resistance, then you have to keep escalating the force to stop that from happening, at which point you get rubber bullets. All right, I just want to make that clear. Rubber bullets are not meant to be shot into people's faces. That is unacceptable, right? Every police officer is trained how to shoot. Unacceptable to be shooting people's faces, intentionally or not. There's this idea that rubber bullets are supposed to be ricocheted off the ground. And originally, in 1970, that's what they were designed to do. That is no longer what they're designed to do, at least not in America. You hit the legs and the lower torso. That is where they're trained to aim. They're not ricocheting it off the ground. So those of you who are thinking, is that accurate? Are they supposed to be ricocheting? No. They're not supposed to be hitting you from a close distance. But this distance right here, from here to here, that's fair. Yeah, you also don't aim for the crotch. No. And just no. Moving on. Let's check out. Oh, this one. This one's a problem. So, this one is probably, he was ordered to disperse, or there's a curfew or whatever. This is an old dude. He can't move fast. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, they didn't appear to push him hard. He did trip over, what is that, a scooter? But they didn't need to push him at all. He's an old man. He can't move that fast. Common sense, right? I'd give that the stamp of police brutality. That's a problem. But they don't need to do that. Now, the guy, if he's there as part of a protest and they've been ordered to disperse, that is a problem, but they shouldn't be pushing him. Also, I think that guy's police shield is upside down, which I find incredibly amusing. Yeah, see that? It's upside down. Anyway, just food for thought. Yeah, he had a cane. Like, come on, you know he can't move that fast. Just, that's very frustrating. And John Doe. Do I have any mods here? We're not going to talk about trying to run over protesters. That's not going to happen. Hold on, we got to pause it to fix this. How are you all doing, by the way? We all. Oh goodness, we all having a good time. All right. Well, I might bring someone in on this because. Yeah, there we go. And remove. Rubber bullets fired from shotguns like slugs. Some can be. Some can actually be fitted into shotguns. Some, they have a special device. Like if you see a yellow shotgun, those usually beanbag rounds or rubber bullet rounds or baton rounds. Whatever you want. Oh, John Doe, keeping it up. So John Doe is being put in timeout. Well done, John. And repo, no, we're not going to talk about running over rioters. It is a lot of tabs. I've been collecting a lot of stuff. So, let me see if I can get our guest in here. This is going to be Dirk. Let me see. Dirk from yesterday's stream when we were playing the video game. Let me see. We're going to figure this out. Hey, Dirk, send me a message to Discord. I'll bring you in. And I'll link you the things so you can review them in real time. Cool. All right, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to read some of these comments, actually. Beanbag. No, stop. People, stop talking about shooting people in the nuts with beanbag rounds. Yeah, some of the baton rounds are significant. You don't want to get hit by them. They'll work. What they do is, one, it's pain compliance. Two, they can actually cause your muscles to like seize up to make it more difficult for you to do whatever you're doing. It is the whole thing. It's a whole thing. Hey, Dirk. All right, let's get him in here. All right, my audio's working. Shkablamo. Are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, he's here, folks. All right, welcome back. Yeah, we're just going to talk about some of these things I've seen posted, and sure. We can get some of your input on this.
I'm still trying to get the stream to go live, like where I can see it happening in real time.
Yeah, good luck with that. It won't. There's a weird delay. Where was
so
I?
like like maybe like 30 seconds went by, and then I heard you say, "Hey, Dirk, send me a message on Discord," and I was like, "Oh no, it's been 30
Yeah,
seconds."
I know. All right, let me give you that one real quick.
My man Gary calling me out, Dirk Diggler. Thank you.
No,
Judge Dirk, I love it.
I know it's you, Repo, but let's not talk about it. That would actually be a problem. All right, so I sent you a thing. Cop pulled down the protester's mask and blasted him with pepper spray. Andrew Smith, the man behind the mask, whose hands were up the whole time during the encounter in Brooklyn, said he believes the cop was trying to incite a peaceful situation. Incite a peaceful situation.
Ooh.
I think they mean incite a violent situation. Anyway, there's a video here. So
He pulled his mask down?
yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't know if they've been asked to leave, they're in the wrong, right? However, you can't pull someone's mask down and spray them unless, check this out, holds him. You see that flailing with the arms there? That could be considered resisting, at which point you escalate force. Now, this guy in his other hand, he's got that ready to go, specifically for this reason, because people are going to resist being moved around. So they'd start to move him
It'd be better
around.
if you had multiple like angles. Of the
I need another
situation.
angle because I don't.
Yeah,
Inside of the face.
yeah.
Let's. Can I slow this down at all? Show controls. Let's see if we can slow it down. No. All right.
Don't feel me, Firefox.
I think he grabs for the dude and the mask comes down and then he sprays him. I don't know if he's actually trying to pull that mask down or not. It looks terrible. If he reached out to pull that mask down and spray him, that's a problem. But if he sprayed the dude because he started flailing, not a problem.
Yeah.
You know?
I think this one's hard to kind of like.
This one's very difficult to tell without knowing more about the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah. So there's things you have to consider, right? A lot of people only want to consider these from the side against the police officers. I get that. I'm going to consider these more from the perspective of police officer because that's, I've been in some of these situations, certainly not many or all. But I've experienced things that would look bad without context. I've been a part of things that would look bad without context. And I think this is maybe one of them. Now, for those of you wondering who Dirk is a guy that I play video games occasionally with, including yesterday. If you liked us doing that, I'm going to try to keep that on Twitch. Just Twitch wasn't working yesterday, so I put it on YouTube. I know some people were kind of upset about that. Sorry. I'm going to try to keep it on Twitch if Twitch works. But Dirk, you're a volunteer police officer, right?
I'm a reserve.
Reserve, that's the one. He's reserve police in, I don't know if you want to give the state. I think you said it yesterday, but
New Mexico. But
New Mexico, yeah.
Just for my safety, I don't really like to talk about where I work.
Yeah, we're not gonna go into like what part of, of course. I don't even know. But we run some of these things by each other occasionally, and talk about this stuff. So he's like, "Hey, do you want a second opinion?"
How to send this to you?
I went, "Heck yeah!"
Sure.
All right, what else we got? What's our next thing? Oh, this one's fun. I was so mad when I saw this. Let me give it to you. All right, so Senator Mike Lee says, just heard that Mayor Bowser, is his name actually Bowser? That's amazing. Mayor Bowser is kicking the Utah National Guard out of all D.C. hotels tomorrow. More than 1,200 troops from 10 states are being evicted. This is unacceptable. And this person says, raise your hand if you had the Third Amendment to the Bill of Rights finally becomes relevant on your 2020 bingo card. The Third Amendment is not relevant because of this. They're not one. It would be relevant if they were then trying to station those troops in your homes. It'd be like, hey, put a bed out for these guys.
Her last name really is Bowser.
Oh my God, that's incredible! I love it.
That's great.
There goes my keyboard. Hold on. It's wireless. It doesn't stick to me.
It's amazing.
So, where was I?
I swear, if I find a mayor that's Mayor Waluigi, I'm going to be like,
That'd be
super
incredible.
happy.
I would vote for them. No, I wouldn't vote for them just for that. So, there are two ways this could be involving the Third Amendment. One, all those troops need a place to stay, and they go to private residences to do that, or this is a Third Amendment because they are being evicted from a hotel that is considered a dwelling under the Third Amendment. But they're not being evicted because they're troops. They're being evicted because Mayor Bowser had an agreement with these hotels that they would pay a certain sum of money to house the soldiers, which is how hotels work. You pay money, and then you get to stay in a room, right? Yeah. That's how hotels work. And if the mayor goes, yeah, we're not going to keep funding this, they don't get to stay in that hotel. That has nothing to do with the Third Amendment. Literally nothing.
Yeah, no. If the soldiers want to stay in these hotels, I mean, it's up to the federal people to do it.
It would be, it's up to whatever part of the government wants to do that. It could be up to if they're from 10 states, it could be up to their home companies or chains of command to pay for it. But when you go and you travel under either Title 32 orders, which is National Guard, or Title 10, which is federal, or whatever the orders are, when you travel for those purposes, the government pays for that. And so when you're staying in a hotel, and I've stayed in a hotel under the government's dime before, it's great. But if the government stops paying for that hotel room, the hotel is not keeping you. That's ridiculous. That's all that is. So if any of you have seen this and gone, the Third Amendment, don't. Nothing to do with this situation. Let's check out the next thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gary W. asked me a question I just want to answer real quick.
Do it.
It won't take much.
Do it.
But he asked me, do I know Sheriff Lujan? I don't know him personally. I know of him because I've been following his story very thoroughly, I would say. Sheriff Lujan, basically, like all sheriffs, he's elected. He's not a chief of police who's hired by a city council or a mayor or whatever. So I'm not praising him, and I'm not condoning him. The way he's going about his whole situation, like multiple situations, is completely wrong. And he's being right now charged by the FBI. But the way New Mexico sheriffs work, and I'm sure it's all around the country, they're elected, and so a lot of them stand up to things that they don't like, and most of them are good people. Like, they stand up to the Second Amendment and all that kind of stuff, and they don't want those gun laws that were passed by legislators to go into their counties. But he's a unique individual, and I'd love to talk about him even more later on. But
we'll have to put together a thing about that.
It's a very fascinating and crazy story.
Yeah, I have to look more into it because I don't know anything about that situation.
Nothing in relation to police brutality.
Gotcha.
Mainly,
someone brought it up. I'm like, I think I know something about it. But
mainly
now
abusing the powers of his office.
Gotcha.
Or at least trying to abuse the powers of his office. So I'd love to talk about it more, Gary. I really do, because I watch the news stories about him all the time, and he's not that far from where I'm located. He's a couple hours, I would say, maybe 4 hours. So,
well, shall we talk about the Chicago incident?
Oh yeah.
So it looks like there's some sort of protest, right? Whatever. I'm guessing, as per usual, these people have been ordered to disperse, or there's a curfew or whatever. There's some audio. All right, so they'll be ordering to go. And boom, they just take this person down and then smack it. Those are distractionary strikes, what they're called. I don't know why that would be justified. Maybe the person had a weapon. I don't know. It looks really, really bad. This, I would definitely question as to whether or not this would be brutality. Right? Now, with these other people using their batons afterwards, once the crowd starts moving in, that's kind of fair, because the last thing you want is the crowd to overwhelm the police officers. But my assumption, if this were to be justified, I would imagine the guy who was pushed over was throwing some sort of object.
I would assume he was.
Now, I don't know if that's the case. I'm just trying to figure out how this could be justified for police. But those strikes, thank God he's not using the baton. But the guy's... he's sitting on the ground. At what point, would that be justified to strike him in the head like that? I don't know. I don't think so. And maybe there's a reason that we don't know about, because this is a 30-second video. That's all we got. right? So there are circumstances where maybe this would be acceptable, but I mean, the longer you watch, the fewer circumstances there are. I don't know. And during a riot, police are going to be a lot more aggressive because it's a lot more dangerous to arrest people because you're outnumbered. So the aggression in many cases is justified. But that one, I don't know. I would say I give that one the old stamp of police brutality.
I would too, actually.
Yeah. But if I got more information at some point in the future, maybe I would, pull that stamp back.
You could change.
Yeah, and what I always encourage is, find out the context. Now, of course, in this one, we don't have all the context.
So have you, on the first one you sent me with the guy getting his mask pulled down and pepper sprayed, if you scroll down in the comments a little bit, I gotta see how far, there's a video posted by some guy named Just Here something, Just Here for the Rubber Band Man. That's his name. It's a pretty funny name. There's a 58-second video I want you to watch if you can find it.
Are you able to send it to me?
I can't share it.
In Discord?
Unless, hold on. I can save the video. Yes.
Yes. Well, while you're doing that, there's this picture of this guy got shot in the neck with rubber bullet. Our bullets are not supposed to be shot at the upper half of the torso, except for in extreme circumstances. So this, definitely not okay.
Hold on, let's see. Discord. Oh, okay, cool. You can share videos.
Although, pretty much anywhere in the back is fair game, by the way. I'm talking if they're facing towards you, it's the lower half of the torso and down. If they're facing away from you, basically anything is fair game except for the neck and the back of the head. That's how the training, this is how my training was. But, there's some, look away if you're sensitive. But, yeah, like that, the head, unacceptable.
It's too long of a video, apparently. It has to be 8 megabits or less.
Now, this person asks, is it common police practice aim for the face? No, it is not. But this person says, not supposed to, but most type of rubber ammunition aren't ballistically stable. They curve away wildly after a short distance. So that's a problem. Which is why you kind of aim pretty low.
Ooh.
Just a thing to consider is if they're not ballistically stable, they're going to move through the air in unusual ways. So I think if we're going to keep using rubber rounds, make them more ballistically stable, make sure you're aiming lower. Now, ricocheting rubber bullet, that's fair. I wouldn't consider that the police's fault. It's some unfortunate accident. I'll keep going. I mean, if you want to figure, do you have the video? Do you have a link to it, or?
I'm working on it.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna probably create a Imgur or whatever it's called, Imager account. I can't speak today.
Gotcha.
Let's see.
All right, here's one. Police and riot gear shoved me a few blocks from where I live when I was doing my job to film someone being tackled to the ground and arrested after a protest. So, if there's a riot going on, you can stay and film, but you're also subject to those dispersal orders. I don't know what's happening here. That's just something a lot of people aren't aware of. I don't know what's... I mean, police can pursue you if you're breaking the law. I don't... Oh. Alright, so police are trying to move people along. There's a riot. Okay. One guy ran off. He's fighting the police at that point. I think I might have just heard a taser. Alright. If you assault the police, they're going to chase you. Fun fact. A lot of rubber bullets I've seen, for those asking, are round. Not all of them. Some are actually the pointed tip. So, I'm not shoved a man with batons. Oh yeah, so this is the guy who's filming, I think. Or no, this is the guy I don't know what's happening. This is the person they're talking about being tackled to the ground. Okay, I don't see anything wrong with that. You can't approach an active arrest like this. That's going to be your problem right there. All right, giving orders to back up. Guy isn't backing up. He gets pushed with the baton. That's standard stuff. It's just a push. All right, that's super standard stuff. He's not backing up. The baton push isn't working. Literally nothing wrong with that. Unless I've missed something. Dude did something. They chase him. Okay, I don't know why they chase him. I'm assuming there's a reason. There's something he's doing. But they go to grab him. He fights back. They tackle him to the ground. Person goes back. Gets too close. Fails to back up. Is pushed away with the baton. Right? See, here's the thing. They put the baton against him and try to walk him back. He resists right here. And then they push him. That's not a hard push. That's a pretty... Oh, we're going to... Yep, that one's... Oh. Dirk, I have that one coming up.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. And I have the information. No, you're good. So, this one I've just found on Twitter randomly. I didn't even know about this one. Literally, I can't see anything wrong with this. This whole thing was started with... there's a homeless man who was shot in the face. Who's in a wheelchair. Just unacceptable things to bring up. That's literally the next one. It's literally the next one. So Dirk spent all that time trying to find a video that was the next one. That's not. I mean, I appreciate the effort.
Nothing.
I appreciate the effort you took. You guys can still see what I'm doing. Yeah. All right. Cool. So this one looks really bad, but I have context for you.
That's why a lot of y'all overreact in the moment. Scary ass. If you
got a police line,
to protect the streets and protect
and you got a man yelling at him.
Turn in your damn back. But prematurely shooting people?
All right, nothing wrong with that, girl.
Your scary ass on somewhere.
And now they're coming to arrest him for free speech. Unacceptable. Let me tell you what's actually happening according to some of the comments. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But it's a different context. So, apparently, these people have been told, like, stay off the street, right? Your protest is no longer allowed on the street. You can be on the sidewalk. You cannot continue your protest on the street. There is a moment right. Let's back up a little bit. Hold up. Almost. Boom. You can see him actually drop off the curb when he steps onto the road. And that's why these people start moving in. That is why. All right? So it wasn't arrested for free speech. It's because he continues protest on the street. Yeah, it was a single step. But that's enough. Now, they grab him. These other people push back. And they get sprayed for obstructing a lawful arrest. That's what's going to happen, guys. That's not...
Give that guy a compliment. Nice cowboy boots.
Nice cowboy boots, yeah. So... The guy stepped out of the street to protest. Not allowed to do that because the street has been closed off to protesting. They go to pull him in to detain, apprehend, arrest him. This woman pushes back and says, no, get off him. Or, I don't know if she said it, but that's the intent, right? She gets sprayed. That's what's going to happen. And then more people move forward. And so I think they spray a little more because people are starting to throw things. What was that? What just happened? I just got a little something or other. Oh, did someone subscribe? Which one of you was it? You jerks. I don't know. All right. It's very exciting stuff. All right, so anyway, that's the explanation. It looks bad, but when you explain it, right, so they're still getting hit with stuff as people throw it, so they're going to keep spraying things to get people to not be there throwing, right? Without the knowledge that they were supposed to stay on the sidewalk, like that's the turning point for whether or not this is okay. I thought this was unacceptable as well until I found out about the sidewalk thing, which may or may not be true. I haven't looked into it in depth because I have like a million of these. Yeah, so Let's see the next one. Pinknews.co.uk. This one's frustrating to me. All of them are. All right, police opened fire on queer bar, giving first aid and washing pepper spray out of Black Lives Matter protesters' eyes. So an LGBT plus bar owner in North Carolina was fired at by police during an ongoing Black Lives Matter protest for simply running a first aid station on his own property. If it's on your own property, I'm pretty sure you're okay, right? So they had set up a first aid station for protesters, handing out granola bars, bottled water, helping them wash pepper spray out of their eyes. If that was on their own property and police showed up and told them not to be doing that, I don't think police can issue those orders and expect them to be obeyed lawfully, you know? So it's just a frustrating thing. This seems wrong to me, but there may be more to it. I don't know.
Is this the one where they dumped all the water bottles?
No, I have that one coming up, though.
Okay.
Oh, I have this
thread,
this Twitter thread. It's just supposed police brutality. We're going to save that one for later because I have others. Let me see. All right, that was the old dude. Do I already have this one? Yeah, that's the one with the guy with the upside-down shield. Got it. All right. The brick delivery. Yes. So, there's been these claims of just bricks showing up. For some reason, it's not posting to. I think it will in just a second.
Oh yeah.
Look at all these bricks. Just being randomly delivered. Yesterday, there were bricks found outside of a mall when there was absolutely no construction going on. Today, there is another neatly stacked pile of bricks left out in the open in another location. Again, no construction going on. Would you like to know why there's no construction going on? COVID virus.
Probably.
I'm going to tell you that, you guys, that right now. Probably COVID. So, bricks. BuzzFeed had a lovely article, BuzzFeed of all things, right? Lovely article about why the bricks aren't just being planted for use by protesters. So, pallets of bricks underneath this freeway. The construction crews that were using them ended up coming over and covering them up. Okay, cool. Another case, bricks were discovered not far from where a protest was due to take place on June 1st. Spokesperson for the Frisco Police Department told the Associated Press the bricks were for a local homeowner association project. All right, makes sense. These stacks of random-ass bricks were the focus of a video shot in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The man who narrated it claimed there wasn't any construction in the area. He questioned why the bricks were placed in the middle of a protest, but there is a good explanation. What was that explanation? Let's find out. So apparently that the bricks have been there since at least May 24th, the day before George Floyd was killed, so it couldn't have been put there for the George Floyd protests. A YouTube video with Antifa terrorism in the title claimed to show crates of bricks along a street in Sherman Oaks, California. These are barriers for a Jewish community building. You see these a lot in Germany, actually, which is someone in there might find that interesting. I'm not going to go into depth about where I was going with that. Yeah, these are barriers so that cars don't accidentally crash into the building or intentionally crash into the building. That's literally all it is. You put up these cages, you bolt them to the ground, you fill them with heavy rocks. Works really well. This video shows two law enforcement officers unloading bricks from the back of their vehicle. Okay, so these are Northeastern University Police Department officers. They patrol the campus, and they were picking up bricks from a damaged sidewalk. Like, let's not... There's enough to focus on that is bad. Let's not just start making things up. Anyway, so there's a lot of that. It just goes on and on. You can find it if you look at BuzzFeed bricks. You'll find it on Google. There's a lot of this. It's all like, nope, 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 false, 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 nope, 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 false, 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 nope, nope, false. No. What's next? Oh, this one's my favorite. Oh my God, hold on. All right. Mama Curry, at Nurse Curry, don't harass her. That's an order. Don't harass her. Friendly reminder that nurses have to restrain violent, confused, intoxicated, and belligerent people all the time, and we make it happen without crushing anyone's windpipe. Fair. But you also have ways to strap people down. You have security that can come in and help you. You have narcotics to inject into them. It's really nice. And for those of you who want to be like, yeah, nurses do a great job. They do restrain all these people. Nurses also kill between 250 and 440,000 people a year. Well, nurses and doctors, medical professionals, through preventable negligence, kill between 250 and 440,000 people a year. Police kill around 1,000. All right? So if you're going to say, yeah, nurses can do it so well, maybe not the best argument to make. Maybe I don't think nurses are your best your best tool there. Nothing against nurses. You know, I've been helped by nurses. I've been helped by doctors. I've also been helped by police officers. And I've had some nurses and doctors that were terrible. I've met some police officers I didn't quite care for. But when you look at them like, yeah, we're able to do this stuff without killing people, well, a lot of people die under the care of medical professionals. So I just think there are better arguments out there for that. Just a thought. Now our next thing, it's just a fun little thing. I'm not going to send this to you because it's not really important. 35 of the most prolific medical serial killers of all time. I think it happens. Let's see. Harold Shipman, Doctor of Death. Well, he's British. We're going to ignore the British ones. United States, Donald Harvey, 37, 57 to 87. I'm not really sure what those numbers mean. It looks like a lot. He was convicted. Is it how many he admitted to and how many could be proven? Doesn't make it. Oh, all right. So confirmed possible victims. So he confirmed 37 victims, but there might have been 57 to 87. And then you also have Jane Toppin, or Jolly Jane. She was found not guilty by reason of insanity, confined to a mental institution until death. She killed 31. There are a lot of these guys. All right. Problem. Just nurses and medical professionals. Maybe not the best argument for why they're better than police. Just a thought. Just saying. All right, what's next? Here's the water bottle thing we were talking about. There. Gotta check to make sure my headphones are still on. All right, so Asheville Police Department destroys medic station for protesters, stab water bottles, and tip over tables of supplies. The claim was that these bottles were being thrown at them and they had to get rid of them. But I feel like they've already taken over that area. They could have just kept moving forward. I don't think this was the right move by any chance. This seems like a way to stop people from helping. I don't know. This seems wrong. I don't know how you feel, Dirk.
I've been watching a different video, which is interesting. This gentleman threatening protesters with a chainsaw.
Whoa, send that to me.
Hold on, I am right now. And all these protesters are screaming, defund the police and stuff. And he's threatening with that chainsaw, and you hear one of them go, "Call 911." I just find it funny.
Let's talk about the defund the police thing, actually. Hold on, let me.
Well, I saw a meme, and I'm not trying to get political, but
No,
I thought it was
fair.
funny.
That's it didn't. Oh, there we go.
There was a meme that said, I gotta pull it up real quick so I don't just misquote it. It says, defund the police. And then it says, who will enforce the gun control then? And then the people that are wanting stricter gun control, like there's like a confused woman. I'm assuming it's that Karen meme. And it's just a confused looking woman with like math equations around her head.
Yes. Yep.
and I just thought it was funny.
Nice. All right, let me check this.
Did it work?
Yeah. All right, peaceful protest. Good. I'm all for peaceful protests.
Yeah, for sure.
That cop does not belong here. This is not up there.
What is he yelling about?
Do this shit now. Get the out of here.
I'm working the Navy ship,
Protecting
bro.
something, or he's mad that people are protesting.
Oh, come no.
Oh, he did say something racist.
Are they blocking? I don't know what. That's assault right there. That's assault. You can't do that. I think this might be his business,
It might
and
be.
he's telling them to do it somewhere else.
Go home. Go home. Go home.
Life isn't fair.
Don't let those up there fool you.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't let those trash.
All right.
You hear the one lady go, "Call 911."
That goes right here.
Oh my God. That's brutal. All right, so by the way, that's assault. That chainsaw thing. You don't actually, in many states, you don't actually have to touch someone for it to be assault. You just have to threaten them with bodily harm. Yeah, call 911. Look, as far as defunding the police goes, I think it's more of a funds have to be organized better. You know, if you take away money,
if you just straight take money,
I'll tell you right now,
fix problems. Like
yeah, that money is gonna come out of training. I'll tell you that right now, because there's equipment that is necessary. They have to be able to pay police officers. A lot of people don't want. It's hard to be a police officer, and it's hard for departments to find police officers. So they're desperate for people right now. So all you're doing by making it less desirable to become a police officer is they're going to have to get the people who aren't good, because they have no other choice. They're going to have to reduce their standards of hiring. They're going to be able to kick fewer of them out. The training isn't going to be as good. You're literally just going to make police worse. Now, if you audited what their money was used for better, great. Make more of it go to training. There's a thought. But just to say, like, abolish police entirely, that's never going to happen. It's not going to work. And to say defund them, good luck. That's not going to help either. I don't think. Yeah, I know I'm not logged in. Get out of here. All right, where was I? What is next? What we got? Oh, this one's fun. This one is an example of people seeing things and jumping to conclusions. So you see the cops break into a shop. What? How could they do that? That's horrible.
So here we are witnessing NYPD's finest.
Oh,
Breaking into
how could they do that? To
for
steal.
some fucking reason.
Oh, they're stealing the gold and the jewels. Oh, yes. No, we definitely need more effort to mental health response. 100%. I can't argue with that at all. So people are like, oh, my God, what are they doing? Without context, you can come up with all sorts of ideas. And the owner, Oscar, right? The owner of this building says, no, I had them arrest 3 men who accidentally got trapped in my store trying to loot it. Guys, they're opening the store because there were people trying to steal
trapped
from it.
In there because they were trying to steal the diamonds and stuff.
Stop jumping to conclusions, right? Which is why it's so important for me to be like, this is what is police brutality, and this is what isn't. So that when you see real police brutality, you can jump on it and devote all your attention to it and get rid of that. You're not wasting effort on the fake brutality. Let's move on. Oh, this one looks real bad, and I hate it. All right. So, this is Australian news crew. Some of you may have seen this. There are 2 angles of this. We only have this one. I'll explain to you what happened based on what I've seen from the other angle. This is Washington, D.C., I believe.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. We've just had to run about a
The one I sent you?
No, maybe. Did you send me this one?
No, I sent you a live one in Washington, D.C.
Oh, no. This one's they've been fired out with rubber bullets. Cameraman's been hit. All right, now they're moving forward. That's when you run, guys, by the way. When they start doing that. I don't know if they were given orders to disperse. I don't know if this is the incident with the tear gas when President Trump went to the photo op. I know in that instance they were not given much warning at all. I don't agree with what happened with that one, where he went across the street to get the photo op. I don't know if that's what's happening here. But we see the police approaching the cameraman as people flee. And this guy right here, Shkablamo. It looks like he punches the guy. No, he just grabs the camera and pulls it down. I think he does hit him in the stomach at some point. Not okay. Unless, from the other angle, there's another strike, I believe. The point on the camera, that's fine if you're going to arrest him. But, police arrest and choke. Is that actually what's happening? Police arresting and choking someone? I'm looking at a different thing, guys, by the way.
Apparently.
All right, let's look at that. Why not? This is disgusting and terrifying to watch. Please share with your friends and family. See what's happening. Police arrest and choke a teen for selling water without a license. Obviously doesn't look great, but what if they tried to stop him and he refused to stop and they went to arrest him and he started fighting them, right? Possibilities. We're seeing a minute and 47 of a longer incident.
Saying he's resisting won't make him be resisting. We're watching you.
I think they're trying to grab that hand and he's not relinquishing it. All right, there we go. So,
Which department is that?
I don't know. It's definitely not great. It doesn't look good, and it could be a really big issue, but there are reasons that this could be happening. A minute and 47 is not going to give us the information we need. I actually have a video, Frank. I have a video of me doing baton training. I'll have to share with you guys sometime. I get knocked out in it, so I'm sure a lot of you will enjoy that. But it was me against 3 people, and one of them, oh my God, he was a tank, and he charged me, and knocked me over, and I landed on the ground head first, and I passed out for about half a second. You can see me actually lose consciousness, and then like come back alert. It was fun. Yeah, so he's not giving up his hand underneath his chest there, so they're using the baton as leverage. That's technically resisting.
We got it on tape. Don't worry.
He's not giving up his hand. No, I would have used a taser and drive stunned him as pain compliance personally. But yeah, it might be Metro State.
Saying he's resisting won't make him do it.
All right, this woman's saying that he's not resisting. He is. He's failing to give up his hand. That's resisting. Just because it's not a violent resistance doesn't mean it's not resisting.
We're not in your room at all, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I find it a little suspicious we don't have anything before this. Because this, where they're choking him, there are events that could have led to that, reasonably, right? It looks really bad, and it's really easy to say, like, oh no, like everything's terrible. And maybe it is, and that would be horrible. But police don't generally go out of their way to, mess up this badly on camera if this was them doing the wrong thing. Just a thought. All right, what do we got next? Oh, this is a lovely one. This one I put in here just a nice little sort of rest. All right, so Seattle got a little bit destroyed. Not terrible. I mean, there's a lot of boarded up windows. I'll tell you that. When I went down there was a lot. But so 1 minute, the sadness of downtown Seattle being destroyed. Then the emotions this morning of seeing how much pride people have in the city. Families, friends, and volunteers have descended en masse, yeah. On downtown Seattle with their own brooms, dustpans, rags, and bags to clean up. That's amazing. Good for them. Yeah, there was a lot of this graffiti. There were a lot of broken windows. People just going out there and helping. And I love to see that. That's the community coming together. And as much as we might need police reform, we need more of this as well. We need less division among the people, more cohesiveness. This is great. And I was really happy to see this. They're handing out donuts. It's great. I love donuts. I can't not love donuts. I was a police officer.
I love donuts.
I'll tell you what. So the protest I was at the other day, it was at night, and they're doing a constant, multi-day protest. It's real intense. They have, food stations set up where they're just giving out free food and coffee and energy drinks, and they're supporting themselves. It's really incredible to see, and I'll show you guys that video once I edit that down. And it was just amazing to see them create their own little community of helping each other out. Some of the things they said in the protest were inaccurate, which we will get into, but the way they came together to make this happen was really, really neat. And one girl was like, "Hey, do you guys need any food? I've seen you walking around," because I was with a friend, and there was a box of donuts. I ate one. I didn't tell her that I used to be a cop, but I felt that there was just the idea of a cop taking the donuts from the protesters to eat, that there was some amusing stuff there. Not that I took it, it was offered to me and I ate it, but Yeah, it was just a fun little.
Now I really want donuts.
Right?
I'm
I
really
can't.
upset
I'm
about
just
that.
thinking. I'm distracted. I'm thinking about donuts. That's why I can't tell my story correctly.
I am like contemplating going to Krispy
We
Kreme right
love
now.
donuts. All right, we already talked about that. Oh, that's Philando Castile. We're not gonna go over that today. That's its whole own thing. Yeah, here's the tweet. This is. I'll send you the spreadsheet. It's a Google Doc. It's compiled by two guys. Vice, the news organization, shared it, and it's all the police brutality videos on Twitter that they've seen. I guess since all this started, and we're at 300, 400, 500, something.
510.
All right, so let's just look at some of these. I don't know.
This is my opinion, but I think when the rise of social media has made this kind of stuff like much easier to see. So like, there's a lot of manipulation to a lot of these videos. Like you're kind of saying before, like you don't see the full side.
You're not seeing
initially.
what happened before that arrest.
Yeah, like they'll just show right when the guy is either like taken down by the police or whatever. They won't show what instigated most of it.
Yeah.
It kind of. I don't want to like get too political again, but like with the whole George Floyd situation, like I'm not condoning or I'm not. I'm trying to think of the better word. I'm not praising or anything, but like in the beginning, I was against putting judgment because you only saw the video of Chauvin. I can never pronounce his name.
I just
Mr.
made
C,
it
I'll
up
call
and
him.
guessed.
Mr. C with his knee on his neck for 9 minutes, but you don't. And or you didn't at the time, at least. Now you kind of do. They showed some different angles and different cases, but they still haven't shown the full thing, like to everybody what really happened. And they released the autopsy, and they're suggesting that under delirium, his heart exploded from all the stuff in his system.
So there are two conflicting autopsies at the moment, and I want more information about that. My whole issue is, once he's unconscious, that hold is no longer authorized that they have on his neck.
That once he's fallen out, like once he's unconscious, you let him go.
Lydia says, I think Lydia's saying, why didn't I tell him I used to be a police officer? Yes, it's good to be proud of what I am, and I still am proud. But surrounded by 1,000 angry people, or 1,000 people who are upset at police officers, is not the place to say, hey, thanks for the donut. I love these because I used to be a police officer. No. Not the place to do it. No. Not when I'm surrounded by them. Anyway. Just thought. Let's look at some of these things in this spreadsheet. Now, I've seen the first one, which I linked to you. It's in Houston, where a woman gets trampled by a horse, allegedly. All right, so we got some mounted police there. And coming from the left side, you'll see one come in. And skablamo. That looks really bad. Oh, goodness.
Ooh, that's like 1,000 pounds walking all over her.
Now, no. You'd think so. I watched this many, many times. So,
I think you watching it.
I'm going to watch this in slow
Did she
motion.
scoop the horse?
No, it looks like you actually see the officer putting tension in the reins. I think the officer was trying to get the horse to stop. But she steps in. The guy on the horse is trying to take that route past the car. Oh, it's so slow. All right, so she steps in. There's whistle blowing. I don't know which one of that's blowing, but it might have been like, hey, attention, big horse coming through. All right, so you can see him right there. Right there, he pulls on the reins. Now, she might have been in his blind spot because there's a big old horse head in front of him. That's a big head. The angle, let's check out the angle. He can't see her. The horse head is blocking her, right? The horse has blinders on his eyes. One of the reasons, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but situational awareness. Now, the horse, I don't believe, actually steps on her. I think it steps around her, thank God.
It does kind of look like it stepped on her at one point.
Right on the back of her shoe.
Yeah, maybe.
Boom.
That's
Oh,
probably why
wait,
this is up.
side. It did not. It does not appear to have actually stepped on her once
Yeah,
on
it
the
doesn't
ground.
look like it stepped on her. It looks like it got her shoe. That's why her shoe came off.
Yeah. Right in the back of the heel. Nope, and nope. Only time I stepped on her was the initial impact with the back of her foot. I don't think that officer could see her, and it looks terrible. Oh, Sean, a lot of people don't understand the difference between the fact that I was an MP and not a civilian police officer. And there isn't too much difference, but that's not a conversation I'm willing to have in the middle of an angry mob. Yeah.
Also, she's kind of like in the way, like...
No, she is.
Like, I'm not talking about like in the way of the horse. She is in the way of the horse, but she's in the way of...
She's kind of in the middle of the street, yeah.
Yeah, like... I guess there's other people in front of her if you look. There's two, but... She's pretty close to the police van.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation. I honestly think the officer just could not see her.
Yeah.
And I think if there's an investigation, I don't think there's a police brutality at all. I think it's very unfortunate, but I think there
police
are
brutality, horse brutality.
Horse brutality. Yeah, the officer didn't like charge his horse into her. The moment there's an impact, you can see him tightening on the reins, like, oh no.
He tightens on the reins. You don't see him kicking at the horse to initiate it to go forward.
Yeah.
That's what you do to get the horse moving. Is you do light kicks on the side.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Watching it one more time. Is that guy throwing something at the officer?
Where? Oh, after the horse?
Yeah, at like the 20-second mark.
I think so.
Throwing at the horse.
I think so.
Yeah, they're throwing like bottles at the horses. Like, throwing something at a human being like an officer is one thing. Like, I'm not, saying you should, but if you throw something at a horse, that's 1,000 pounds of an animal.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with the horse, honestly.
One kick of that horse will break a bone. So, like, I ride horses a lot in my spare time, so
yeah,
you don't want to mess with those.
I may have ridden a horse. I don't know if I've actually ever ridden. I think I've been on like a pony at a fair, when I was a kid.
Aw, little pony.
I think. All right, I'm gonna check out the second video on this thing. All right. It's sideways. That makes it difficult. What police brute? All right, let's see what in the very beginning, the officer shoves this person. Oh! Oh, that's a shove and a half. All right, and then that person hits the ground hard.
Which one is this?
What's that?
Which one is this?
Let me send it to you. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Now again, we don't see what happened before that, but maybe this person was like swinging a brick. If the person was swinging a brick, that shove is perfectly acceptable. If the person was just standing there and being like, no, that push is unacceptable. But we have to consider that there might be more to this because all we see is literally the push. That's it. I can't say if that's police brutality or not.
Is that a different one? Because I'm just seeing a door open on a car.
Door open on a car. Maybe. Well, I'll move on to the next one. We'll just... All right, let me give you that one. This is the third one, and it says doing intent. No. Updates on 2 and 48 above both have. NYPD suspends 2 officers seen widely disseminated protest videos. On 529, officers seen pushing a woman to the ground, and on 530, officers seen pulling down an individual's face mask and spraying pepper spray on him. So this might be things we've already seen. With more info? Okay. Oh, that guy walked into it. The lights are okay. When the police lights are on and they're driving down the street, you gotta move out of the way. That's the law. This dude grabs out for the car. Okay, his hands are up here. He touches the car and then gets pulled along. That's not police brutality. That's a dude being stupid.
Yeah, that is a dude being stupid.
That's a dude. Oh, let's go over this one. Here, all right.
There's renewed anger in the...
the guy getting pushed to the ground here. Oh, and he's bleeding out. That's horrible. This is the guy who got pushed down, the old man. They don't show it, but... Oh, there we go. It wasn't a hard shove. The guy wasn't supposed to be there. Well, Thomas, if he can't see the girl, then how is he gonna... Well, we already discussed the angle of that. Police car might have accelerated because he grabbed onto the car, right? Rotel. All right, so this guy...
In Buffalo, New York,
this isn't a hard
example,
push, but he's an old dude.
5-year-old
and he hits the ground. There's another angle. He hits the ground real hard. And he's bleeding right there. This officer goes down to help him, and they say, no, don't. That looks bad. The front line doesn't help. The front line keeps moving. It's these officers in the back that help. I think it was a National Guardsman who ended up actually stepping in.
Motionless and bleeding from
they did suspend him, the officer. Yeah, that push was unnecessary. The dude was an old guy. He wasn't supposed to be there. But... bad situation. Anyway. How are you guys? How are you guys doing? Yeah, when emergency vehicles are coming by, video slightly larger. Oh, all right. I'll make it large for all the old people out there.
Don't you know it needs to be ADA compliant?
Yeah, I gotta put some wheelchairs on this video, or some ramps.
You gotta do closed captioning. You need to make the text bigger, and
all right. You
and you need to have
so picky. Oh, you're right. It is kind of small, isn't it? I don't know what happened there.
I'm dealing with a lot of ADA compliance at my work. So
I believe it.
Issues. So it's
all right. Hold on.
A lot of stuff going down.
Let me see if I can. That might be better. I didn't realize it was that small. My bad. Seattle incident on Discord. Which Discord? What part of Discord did you send it to? Yeah, he hit that ground hard. That is a definite problem. Fixing the stream for all of you people.
Stop making fun of my old.
There it is. I was waiting for that. All right, hold on. Boop, boop. That's the one I want. All right, I'm going to pause for a second. Make sure that worked. The old man did put himself in that position, but the officers... I mean, you do have to be more careful with people who are less likely to, be able to recover themselves if they stumble. Now, they were like, yeah, he tripped. And it kind of does look that way, because that push, on a normal person, that push wouldn't have caused that to happen, presumably. But I'm glad that they were suspended. I don't know what's happening with them now. All right, apparently I've been saying something in my Discord. Oh. Let me see. Copy message link. Got it. Opening it up. Stand by. Sending it to you, Dirk.
Yeah.
Oh, my nose is real itchy today. What? Boo.
I'm back. It just broke.
Yeah, it's doing stupid things. Hold on.
That's weird.
Oh, wait, I got it. Oh, it's a live leak video. Should I be concerned? All right.
I find live leak videos like 50-50. I mean,
we're gonna take a risk here. We're taking a risk here. All right. All right. All right, so someone is resisting arrest. Maybe. All right, yeah, they're fighting. They're trying to arrest. Pretty standard stuff. And they're yelling, "Get off her." Also, you hear that a lot. Get off them at a protest when people are being arrested. Hear that a lot. This person's struggling. The police are trying to arrest them. We don't know why they're being arrested, but I can tell you, if they're struggling like that, the police are going to struggle back. All right. Presentation of less lethal force. Pretty standard stuff.
I'm so confused. They're saying get off her, but the text is saying that it's a man, not a woman. They're saying get off her.
I think a man approaches and they pepper spray him. It looks like they're saying knee at his neck. Again, knee on the neck is not necessarily a problem. It's when you improperly apply the knee to the neck, right? That is an authorized hold in some places, as I established in my video on George Floyd. Now, I also established that they did it improperly in the George Floyd video, but I was never authorized to use that kind of thing. Other departments are, who have the training for it. So they've presented the pepper spray, being like, don't approach, we'll use it. That's a good move. I'm seeing nothing wrong. This guy over here is approaching on the left. He's getting way too close. Who's getting pepper sprayed? No, they present it. They don't actually spray anybody, right?
It doesn't look like they spray anybody.
I'm not seeing anyone get sprayed. He's holding it out because there's a dude right there, right off camera, within like a few feet of them. That's not police brutality. Footage shows the man see. Oh, so maybe they are talking about the person who was on the ground. I'm not seeing the sprayed. Is it a guy or a girl? Oh, they get sprayed. Oh, they do get sprayed within like at the 6-second mark. An officer sprays onto the ground right in front of their face. Or tries to get them. Yeah, okay, so I will tell you, spraying someone from that close is a problem. It's possible they would try and spray the ground right in front of the person to get it to sort of ricochet back into the eyes. That would be a good move. But if they're trying to hit from the side of the face, that's a problem. However, spraying someone who's actively resisting being arrested, that's going to happen. And being sprayed sucks. Don't put yourself in that position. But it kind of looks like they're trying to spray the ground in front of this person to get it to sort of choop back into the eyes. And if that's the case, I have no issues with that. Anyway, there's all this construction. Like, I don't know what they're doing out there, but it's loud. I did see the mayor's banning CS or pepper spray for crowd control, with the exception of very extreme instances. I was kind of hoping to encounter some CS gas when I went to my second protest, but they canceled the use of that, which is great, which is a good thing. Like, but I'm trying to get some good footage for you guys, and of course, what better footage than being, fleeing while in the middle of a riot. Not that I want to put myself in a dangerous situation, of course not. And I'm very happy that I filmed what I did, because it was incredibly fascinating. But, yeah, no, it's very interesting that for 30 days, they're not going to use CS gas. Yeah, you guys can hear that, right? Can you hear the grass cutting? Yeah, and the protests, for the most part, are pretty... I mean, there's a lot of yelling, there's a lot of whatever, but they're pretty chill. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you about what happened when I went to the two things, actually. One, I was walking through the crowd with my camera. Let me show you the rig I have. So, I got this bad boy. The camera mounts here. I got an external battery thing here. This, I can put little doors on. I use it in the rain to keep the rain off the lens or the sunlight. so I don't get lens flares. But I'm walking around with this thing on my shoulder, filming. I look super professional, and people leave me alone because they think I'm real news. And I am technically. I do fall under the protection of the freedom of press. But people are like, oh, this guy's legit, right? So I'm walking through the crowd, and I pass this girl who sees me and just, turns away with her face over, like her hand over her face. She's like, can you ask before filming us? Like, first of all, you're wearing a mask because coronavirus. Second, you're in a public place in a public protest. Like, you're gonna get filmed. Sorry,
Yeah. Also, is there any laws that say you
Nope.
can't film people without their consent? Though?
I can't record private conversations in public.
Oh, okay.
But it's not a private conversation. It's
Not at
it's
all,
a public protest. So I'm walking, and she's like, "Can you not?" I don't engage because this is not the place to make people angry. In the literal center of this protest with a camera. Like, first, I like my camera. I don't. It's expensive. The equipment, like this, the individual parts actually aren't that bad, but the way shipping is these days, I don't want to have to wait for more of it. I want to use it right now. So I'm like, I'm not going to engage. So I just keep walking. And her friend's like, yeah, how about you ask? Like, come back here and ask. Like, no, I'm done filming you. So I don't want to make them sound like they were stupid. That's how I remember their voices. And I hope I caught that on my audio. Because no one else had a problem with it. Some people were like, thank you for coming here and filming this and, showing what we're doing. Like, yeah, I'm just here to film, man. I'm sure. Like, appreciate you. Have a nice night. Don't get arrested. These were the only two people that actually had an issue. Some people were like eyeballing me weird, but no one, no one brought it up other than those two. The other thing is, there was a speaker, like, everyone kneel for George Floyd. While our speaker says something, and everyone did. I got it on film, and the person talking and saying, why are we only talking about George Floyd? Why are we only talking about him? Why aren't we talking about the other people who are brutally murdered by police? Did you know in Seattle earlier this year, a man was shot in the back of the head while carrying a baby? Why aren't we doing anything about this? And of course, cue the outraged noises from the crowd. And I'm like, this sounds kind of familiar. I'm sure we would have heard something about this if it was a horrible thing. So I whip out my phone and I'm Googling. The person that she's like, why aren't we hearing about this person? Why aren't we, calling the police out for murdering this man who's holding a child? Well, the man who was holding the child had just spent hours beating his wife, or his girlfriend, I think it was, abducted her child, and was fleeing with it when the police arrived to stop him from beating up his girlfriend for 4 hours, or however many hours. As he's fleeing, they shot once with a rifle, killed him, and the baby was fine. When he hit the ground, they're like, get the baby, right? And this speaker made it sound like, yeah, they're gonna get the baby. And then they started chanting, like, where's the baby? Get the baby, or whatever it was. Yeah, because they're concerned about the child, because that's who they're rescuing when they shot this man who was abducting an infant after beating up a woman for hours. What? You know why we're not hearing about that? Because that was the situation behind it. Because it was completely justified. Like, I get the protests, I support the protests, but do a little bit of research before you start using it in front of a crowd of 1,000 people.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, also, I mean, I asked you about this earlier. There was a shooting. When I was living in Arizona, there was a shooting. A guy named Daniel Shaver.
Yep.
And nobody acknowledged it, like, in the public much. Like, it wasn't.
Oh, I see it pop up every once in a while.
It pops up, but, like, not to this extent.
No.
And this dude was just drunk. And when you're drunk, you can't follow orders that well. It's very well known.
Yes.
I'm sure all of us in here who are legally able to drink have been drunk once in our lives. When you first turn 21, you don't think that was smart. You just don't.
No.
And this gentleman got shot by an officer with an AR-15 rifle, like 5 times, because he was pulling his pants up and they thought he was getting a gun.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, to play devil's advocate, and I am instant frustrates me a lot because I can't decide whose side I'm on. Because one, I completely understand the officer being like, he's reaching for a gun, because the original call was that he was pointing a gun at people on the sidewalk from his hotel room.
He was pointing a pellet gun, out of the window of his hotel. and it is totally justified to be concerned that this individual is deadly. You know, he's going to fire upon us, whatever.
Yeah.
But the initial contact with this gentleman, with the body cam footage, they didn't release that footage for like a while. Like it wasn't immediately released for some reason. I don't know the whole story why, but
there were
the
concerns. There was writing on the officer's rifle.
Yeah, exactly. There was exactly on his gun. It literally said "You're fucked" on his gun, etched in, and I guess it was against the department's policy to have engravings on your firearm.
I think they were trying to, because people are like, he was acquitted. Yeah, because the man who was believed to be armed reached behind him to a place where
he reached behind him to pull up his pants.
It's horrible that it happened. It's absolutely horrible. And this is
totally
why
horrible.
I struggle with that one, because I'm like, I understand completely, but the fact that the man died, I don't think the orders were being given terribly clearly, but I understand, having been in situations where I've had to draw down on someone. It's the adrenaline going through you is insane, and it's like nothing you may have ever felt. So that's a horrible one, and that's something I wanted to do an entire video on. Now, Rotel is asking if there's some sort of rule related to live, or it's saying there's some sort of rule related to live airing versus delaying, which is in reference to Gary asking about blurring faces. Now, blurring faces is not required, but it's helpful to avoid possible civil action against whoever's filming. And if it's live, if you've made it clear that you are a news crew, you can get away with all sorts of stuff as far as filming people. And that's why you don't need to blur faces. Usually the laws are...
I've seen live episodes of Live PD where they actually still do blur the faces.
Well, yeah, but that's because the live episodes often show older footage, which is something that Rotel also, I think...
I guess that's true. It's like previously like an hour or two before.
And those ones, someone was saying... Rotel was saying that the previous ones they blur the faces, but the live ones they don't. So that's pretty much. It will depend on the state, but here in Seattle, because I looked this up extensively, I don't have to blur faces, and I don't. If I'm part of a legitimate news crew, I think I actually have to have I might have to have a press pass to be able to actually record people in private conversations, as long as it's clear that I am a news individual. It's a thing. It's a whole thing. So I don't know. Anyway, let's you wanna review some more. How long have I been streaming? How long has this been going on? 2 hours. My goodness. I might want to wrap this up actually.
2 hours. My goodness.
My God. Yeah. Anyway, what do you guys think? How do you feel about this? I'll give you some time, because there's that delay. Give you some time to ask questions or whatever. I think that's gonna end our foray into police brutality. And I'm not saying there isn't police brutality. I'm not saying there isn't racism in America or in the police force, or that there aren't issues. Of course not. And there are issues, and I think they need to be addressed. I think they should be addressed appropriately. I think defunding the police is not the way to do it. But today, the real mission of today was to show you guys that it's really easy to jump to conclusions, and there are legitimate things that could be happening behind these videos, and it's important to get context, to get information about not only how the police can respond to an incident, but what they were responding to. Many of these videos, we didn't see the beginning of the incident, and many of these videos, I addressed that, there are reasons the police could be doing the right thing, but we don't know. And I intentionally didn't find context on many of these things so that I could do that and say, look, this may not be what is actually happening, but it could be. And if other people aren't going to, find the facts and are just going to claim that the police are doing something wrong, why shouldn't I be able to say, but here's what could be happening that makes the police doing, makes it right. So I encourage you to investigate these things on your own. Of course, as always, and I do want to make it very clear that a lot of this is being given without my actual knowledge about the full events. So the same should go for Auditor. Says Gary, you might not need to blur faces when live streaming, but once the video gets published, you should be obliged to blur faces. And I think YouTube actually has a function where it will blur faces for you automatically. I haven't ever tried that, but Oh yeah, the '90s. There was some intense protests in Seattle in the '90s. Dreamer for sure. But it's, yeah. There's so much more out there that I could address. But and we're not doing a 4-hour stream today. We're not. I saw McAddicts. I saw that. And Repo Man, I saw that as well. We're not doing the 4-hour stream. We've never broken that. We got to 3 hours and 59 minutes once. It's close to gotten to that 4-hour mark. But not today.
How long was the Gmod stream yesterday?
That was an hour and 55. And I've downloaded it. I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna put it back on my YouTube channel. I've taken it down, by the way, folks, because it was never meant to actually be on the stream. Was never meant to be on the YouTube channel. It was supposed to be on the Twitch channel. And I thought I'd take all the fun bits and put it into a YouTube video. Someone said to me,
I'm still happy I successfully escaped the police.
I know, right? I wish we had that footage.
I am so mad. I need to set up a Twitch thing as well to stream my side.
Yeah, do that, and I can edit your footage in.
Yeah, let me do that.
But
in the meantime,
yeah. So one of the comments on that video, someone said, what did they say? Hold on, let me pull it. I don't know where it is. They said, your streams are way too long. I went, well, you're free to not watch it, the whole thing. They went, oh, well, I'm going to collect the evidence against you. Like, what? I don't understand. What evidence? What? I don't know. It confused me greatly, and I was so intrigued, but they didn't respond back when I responded to that. 3:57 is my current record for time. Could we be doing things differently? Yes, police can absolutely be doing things differently. There are a lot of things that need to be addressed. One, police unions need to be reviewed. I don't know much about them, but I managed to function just fine without one. Better training, more accountability, better tracking of police misconduct. And part of that is police, again, as I said before in the stream, there are complaints against police officers all the time. A lot of them are not legitimate in any way. People are just mad and trying to get people in trouble. And there's a system in place to do that to police officers so people abuse it, right? So a police officer having multiple allegations against them is less meaningful than you might think. But I think tracking that should be good, should be useful, should be implemented. We need more focus on education in general, not just with police, but the communities that they police. There have been studies that have shown that just providing better I'm having a stroke. Police education. All right. Education within communities lessens crime. Better education lessens crime. I think that's great. I think we need that. I think that's important. And I think there are issues outside of the police department that need to be addressed that will actually directly help the current issues that we're having. So, Do you think we'll ever see the... Oh, Angela, thank you. Yeah, that's always great. Oh, it didn't do the alert, did it? We got to figure out that alert thing. Hold on. We're going to... Yeah. We're going to pretend that was you that caused that to happen. For some reason, it doesn't do that when people donate. We're going to fix that. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Police cameras, as far as people getting all the police cameras, there's a lot of privacy issues with having all the police camera stuff available all the time. There are things that the public would not understand that are actually good things, which is why I'm all for education. I think people need to understand how the police work more, because there are things that you will see that look bad but aren't. Even on police cameras, on the body cameras. Not as much, but it certainly is mostly a privacy thing. And there are states where it can't be released until the trial or investigation is over. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Wait. Yeah, Master Art retired says, unfortunately, your law enforcement experience was in a bubble. I found that out when I retired as an MP, became a civilian LEO. No, that's very true. Most of the people I dealt with were military. There were also civilians, but mostly military, and they're all, well maintained in the sense they're drug tested. They have a chain of command. They always report to people. They're tracked. So there's a lot less craziness going on within a military installation. I've operated outside military installation in Germany. The German police would let us do that. And here in America, I've done interviews with people outside military base where I had no actual authority. It was allowed because all I was doing was asking questions. It wasn't detention or anything. If they asked me to leave, I had to leave, and I couldn't use any force other than what would be allowed by a civilian as a whole thing. But when I was outside that base asking those questions, I was a lot more worried because civilians, I trust them a lot less to be decent people, just because they're not taken care of as much as soldiers are. It's a real thing. It is, and that is absolutely something to address. And the laws I enforce were real, and the people I enforced them on were real. But it is a big difference between military police and civilian police. And I'm happy that I did military police, and I spent a significant amount of my time just learning laws in other states and how civilian police work in relation to how I worked. So, no, that is a very good point. That is a very good point. And yes, military police do deal with some pretty intense things. But I think the potential for things going south is less on a military installation. When things go bad, they go bad. But I think there's less chance of it just being as crazy as you would find in civilian. I'm struggling to sort of put this together in my head. I think on a military installation, I feel safer because I expect less to happen. Whereas civilian side, who knows what's going to happen? Right? There is, domestic abuse is a problem. Male and female. I don't know how it compares to outside of the military, but yes, there was certainly domestic violence. Anyway, anything you want to say, Dirk, before we end this?
No, the only thing I will say is I just created a Twitch account, so next time
all right, so
Dirk, mod, we'll have my side.
Yeah,
story.
Dirk and I are gonna stream together at some point. And
it'll be fun.
It's gonna be
I won't have a camera though, because I am waiting to build my house, and then once I build my house, I will have my own private room for streaming and stuff. So it's gonna be pretty exciting. So that will be sometime in October after construction finishes.
Fantastic. Well, we don't need to see your face. We have mine. That's
I don't know
enough.
if you want to see my face. I'm kind of butt ugly. So.
Like most police officers. No, I'm just kidding. All right, well, I'm going to end this. You guys stay classy. I always love doing this.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Yeah. I was gonna quote. I'm not gonna do it anyway. No, we're not gonna. Woosa. All right, you guys have been great. I appreciate your ability to take in this information and review it objectively. So, till the next time, be good, stay safe, and pause for dramatic effect while the stream